DJI Mavic 4 Pro, delay concerns. Got that coming up next. Bill, the drone reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I hosted Broder Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Ron Brown. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all the latest about the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, including the new release date, the shipping delay concerns from DHL, new pictures of the DJI Mavic 4 Pro and controller, and so much more. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. Ron, thank you for bringing that up, because this is the first thing, we're kicking off talking about the Mavic 4 Pro here. And the first article that I wanted to talk about, and it's jumped out at me like immediately yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw this from a neutral news source originally. Then I saw, hey, Kesselou picked it up. DHL Express halts shipments over $800 to U.S. consumers will DJI Drone Deliveries Stall. Okay. And then DHL Express, they're headquartered in Germany. Okay. And they used to be here in the United States, but they've really scaled back their operations here. Has suspended business to consumer shipments value over $800 to U.S. individuals starting April 21st, citing new U.S. customs regulations that complicate high-value deliveries. This decision, announced in a Fox Business report, could disrupt direct purchases of DJI drones from DJI, particularly models exceeding the $800 threshold. For drone professionals and enthusiasts, that raises critical questions about supply chains and whether retailers like Amazon, B&H Photo are viable alternatives to the official DJI store. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol reduced the threshold for formal entry processing from $2,500 to $800 as outlined in a DHL statement. Formal entry requires detailed documentation, including proof of origin and recipient tax identification numbers, increasing processing times. DHL explained the changes outlined have caused a significant increase in formal entry clearances, which we are handling around the clock. The company described the suspension as a temporary measure to scale up clearance capacity, noting that business-to-business shipments will continue but may face delays. Shipments under $800, whether B2C or B2B, remain unaffected. The suspension covers all origins, including Hong Kong, a key hub for DJI's distribution. DHL also committed to working with customers to adapt to changes planned for May 2nd, stating, "We will continue to process shipments from Hong Kong to U.S. in accordance with the applicable customs rules and regulations here." DJI drones caught in the crosshairs. Popular models like the Air 3S, priced at $1,099, exceed the $800 threshold. Mavic 3 Pro, $2,199, and Mini 4 Pro Fly Combo are similarly affected. Development compounds existing challenges for DJI. Since October 2024, CBP has blocked some DJI drone imports under the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, as reported by Reuters. DJI refuted these allegations in a blog post asserting DJI does not manufacture anything in whole and part in Xinjiang, where the Uyghurs are. While some individual orders from DJI.com have cleared, customs, larger shipments to retailers remain stalled. The DHL suspension could halt or delay direct deliveries of high-value DJI drones, potentially leading to order cancellations or returns to Hong Kong. Consumers may face wait times stretching weeks, especially for newly released models like the Air 3S, which features a dual camera system and 42-minute flight time. Retailers, as a workaround, a limited option list, Amazon is a possibility here. Retailers like Best Buy typically receive stock shortly after DJI releases. Regulatory context and market ripple effects. I'll let you guys read the rest of this at your leisure here. Ron, this is coming right at the time. Literally, almost not to the day, but pretty close to it, when the Mavic 4 Pro is getting released.
Do you think this is targeted towards the Mavic 4 Pro's release?
Absolutely. I have no question in my mind. Okay.
And just for folks know, my last 2 or 3 drones have been, purchased directly from DJI and delivered by DHL. So that's been their only supplier to my area for about a year now. So again, back to my other theory though, over 800. So again, they're not really worried about cheap drones. If you want to get a Neo or a Mini 4K or something, you're fine.
Yeah.
Whoever's orchestrating all this is only worried about the higher end drones. They don't care if DJI has the bottom of the drone market.
Yeah. And you know, it's just the timing. This isn't a coincidence. Okay. That this is happening at this time, and the specific dollar amount of this as well too here. You know, it's a targeted measure against this new Mavic 4 Pro. You know, and I'm going to say this, and I did have some comments last week about this as well too. You know, combining this now, take into account again, DHL is a German company, all right. And you know, just to kind of backtrack here a little bit, give you a little bit of a real mini brief history. Okay, they were pretty prevalent here in the United States. They were a pretty good competitor to UPS and FedEx for quite a while. And I know that they had.
I think they got hurt a lot in the 2008 market crash.
Right.
That they had a depot near me then, and that closed down in that era.
Exactly. And they used to have a hub in Ohio. I think it was in Dayton, Ohio. They were, you know, they had pretty good operations up until what Ron just said. Okay. And then they really kind of scaled things back. Now they still have deliveries here. And what they do is here in the United States, they work with the Postal Service quite a bit to do quite a few. Postal Service will do quite a few of their deliveries here.
Right.
So that's kind of how the whole thing works with them. I've actually had a DHL person come to my door. Okay. And they're really fastidious about signing for your package. Okay. Whereas a lot of times with FedEx, just drop it off right.
But sometimes the DHL, they're not like in a DHL vehicle. They may be kind of an unmarked vehicle.
Right. Well, I've actually had ones in DHL vehicles.
Okay.
Pull up to my door. So, and they're the ones, and you have to sign for it. I mean, they don't, you know, not like FedEx, ring the doorbell, drop it off, and they're in the truck all day.
I mean, your point there, their service is most times just as good as the other big carriers.
Yeah. I know there's a place here locally. It's about 3 or 4 miles away where you can drop off DHL items. You know, they take them out daily. They're good. They're reputable. I've had no problem with them. Okay. You know, I can't say the same for UPS because UPS were the last route of the day for UPS. FedEx is usually in the morning, and they're usually better for me. But, you know, this is part of this equation here in terms of, you know, with the Mavic 4 Pro coming out. And I want to, you know, I had some people say, you know, what does this have to do with the Mavic 4 Pro? You know, they were talking last week about the tariffs, and I'm saying it has everything to do with this. Okay. It really does. And the only thing that I want to say about the tariffs is this, Ron. Okay. You know, May 13th is coming up. I mean, it's, you know, it's less than a month away. And if tariffs are still in place like they are right now, I don't think DJI is going to sell a drone, or the only people that are going to be able to buy drones like that would be maybe Rupert Murdoch or Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
or
I mean, I'll help you out. The only people in our community that are buying a drone with 100% tariff is people that use it to make money.
Exactly. Okay. Ones that are heavily invested in their business. Okay. That they will write that off as a business expense. And I'm sure you could probably be able to do that on your taxes
and they'll make the money back for the drone in a couple jobs or whatever.
Exactly. Okay. You know, and we all know them. We all know people who are so very heavily invested in using their drones in their business. Okay. And you know, they're no strangers to us. We know there are a couple in the drone community here.
No, highlight KC Crime Fighter, the most recent comment in the chat. He makes a good point.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's 2 behind now. 3 behind now. Everybody in the chat, we know we have a bunch of great drones right now, and with the price increase, it's worth buying something that's not a game changer. He's exactly right. I mean, I know we all want to chase the newest thing, but all our drones have been real good for a couple of years now, and the Mavic 4 Pro is just going to be basically for most of us an incremental upgrade over what we're flying now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know, and everybody's all, you know, and I'm going to we do have some actual updates, some new pictures of the Mavic 4 Pro, and I'll get to that here in just a little bit.
The Mavic 4 Pro is the worst kept secret of all time, Bill.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. um, one of the things that I do want to bring up is this, and and thank you for Casey Crime Fighter, and I think most of you in chat would agree with this type of statement is, and I know, and I remember the very first person I ever heard say this was Original Dobo, Candano, and he says, enjoy the drone that you have in your hands right now. Okay. And that would be my MO for right now. Enjoy the drone that you have, that you're flying right now, because you're getting, most of you, I know a lot of you have the Air 3S, and it's an incredible drone. It has very few faults. A lot of you have the Mavic 3 Pro and are enjoying that. And again, that has very few faults. The Mini 4 Pro, again, these are fantastic drones. And I know, because I see you guys put out incredible videos all the time. I'm out there looking, you guys put stellar videos out there. And I know, we're all hyped up for a Mavic 4 Pro. Okay. Myself included. Okay. But this isn't a normal time. Things aren't, unfortunately, they're not normal right now. All right. That's the best way that I can put this. And, as far as the pricing is concerned, we have no idea how this is playing out one day to the next. All right.
Because so far it doesn't look like DJI drone prices have risen as of today.
As of today. And in the best thing, and I saw somebody posted this, and this was out on X, and this is something I would say, let's just sit down and just ride this out here. Okay. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow morning, let alone, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. Okay. When May 13th hits. So just exhale right now and let's see how things play out.
Yeah. I mean, it's too hard to predict this time around. Bill, can I answer Jersey Drone Photography's question? It's about maybe 6-7 questions.
Yes.
Back. Do you think the price of a drone job will go up? I guess he means with the price of drones and the tariffs and so on. Jersey Drone, I don't think they will, because there's too many guys out there with $300 and under mini drones doing drone jobs for $50. It's like a race to the bottom. And these realtors, they don't know, most of them don't know anything about photography. The guy with the cheap drone, he's just hitting the button, taking the picture. He's not composing it, or he's not editing. He's just sending the realtors. They're putting up, like in New Jersey, you go around, look at the MLS, you see more bad drone photos, you do good drone photos. So now I don't think the price is going to go up for drone jobs. Again, it's too many people, too many amateurs with cheap drones doing jobs for too little money.
And I agree with Ron, because especially down here in Florida, one thing that I found out, people are so cutthroat down here. Because I went out there, there's a general service, because I was looking to think about doing that here locally, and people will undercut somebody by $10.
Yeah, to
do a real estate shoot, and they were and looking for what they were getting paid. I'm like, I looked at Valerie, I'm like, no.
And the guy's undercutting you. He's the type of guy who'll show up at the address. He'll be there for 10 or 15 minutes. Just go around about random photos, and they might, not even worry about anything, not worry about, exposure or anything. He's just hitting auto 10, 15 times and going on to the next $50 under job.
Yeah.
So there's no quality.
There's just too much going on now. One of the things that I want to make sure that we cover here, there were some new pictures of the, now here's a picture of the controller right here. This is new, that just came out with a full screen. You can see it extended. We haven't really seen that before.
Do you like that new type of controller where the screen extends versus the built-in screen, Bill?
I like that, Ron. I think that's really good. I think the size is perfect, because it's not too small, it's not too big, it's not overwhelming, and I think the other thing, you take a look here. If you look down here, it has eyelets to be able to put a lanyard on.
Right, because that's going to be a kind of a top-heavy controller, or controller
exactly
balance well.
It'll be
kind of like our old fans when we put the tablets on the fan, and that was a nice setup, but it was kind of top heavy on balance.
Right. Now, the one thing that I do like about this is it'll fold right down on top. The joysticks will fold, from
Yeah.
what I understand.
Oh,
So
good.
that's going to be a nice feature. I think people are really going to like that.
Good.
Ray, I don't know, to be honest with you, to answer your question.
Yeah, Ray, I'll answer your question. Ray, of course, if number one, if it will ship to the U.S. or my location, U.S., and number two, if it comes in without 100% tariff on it, 100% tariff, I'm out. And if
Here.
it, of course, I mean, if you can't get it, I mean, it's no decision. If you can't get it, doesn't matter how bad you want it, right, Bill?
Exactly. Okay, if you can't get it, you can't get it.
I'm not driving a couple hundred miles to Canada and smuggling one in. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and I think you would run into all kind of headaches and hassles if you went up to Canada and tried to get one in across the border, especially if they do a search of your vehicle and they find it. It's not going to be pretty. Okay, it will not be pretty here. There's another picture here, and we really kind of get the first. If you want to take a look here, it shows the charger and the 240-watt charging brick right here, but also the gimbal cover, and that thing's a monster. If you take a look,
somebody said last night it's bigger than a mini drone.
Yeah, the gimbal cover itself. Yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge right there. And you're kind of getting your first look at that.
And look, they even have the props off of it. But thank goodness it has the quick release props.
Mm-hmm.
And how about those guys? They're just chilling there. They got their iced coffees and stuff on the table, and
Yeah.
Guy looks like he has his phone out with is that a stylus or just a pen?
Looked like somebody may have had a frozen Coke here or something, and their own bottle of cola or something right here.
Again,
so, yeah.
This is the worst kept secret drone of all time, right? I mean,
now, I actually thought this week we would probably see some honest to goodness box art. Now, as I speak about it tomorrow morning, Jasper or Igor will probably post something with some box art.
I mean, somebody last week had a picture with a box, and whether that was real or not, I can't say. But we did see a box last week.
Yeah, we did see that, and I was thinking a picture of the box art that shows actually like the specs on there. Now, I know you guys had that chart up that compared the Mavic 4 Pro to the Mavic 3 Pro last night. I saw that. Right. That was a good comparison. So
yeah, guys, I mean, whether that's from a leaker I didn't know. So take that with a grain of salt, Bill.
Yeah. So go back, make sure you watch. Shame on you if you didn't watch Drone Nation. Number one. Number two, go back and watch that part again, because if that is accurate information, that was a good graphic to display. So thank you for sharing that last night, Ron. But I think all this news here, first the news of DHL, with this $800 limit now on drones, and also combined with the possibility of tariffs, is really kind of slowed the news cycle down here in terms of what we're getting as far as information about the Mavic 4 Pro. I mean, we did get these new pictures here, but there are some other ones here. Hang on, I do have something else here. They did publish another picture, and this was out after the show from last week, so I want to go ahead and share this with you too. Just found a European web shop listing the Mavic 4 battery for €199, including VAT. This might means, at least in Europe, the Mavic 4 pricing very similar to the Mavic 3. Cheers. And it shows that at $190. Charging hub, $100 US. Props, $19. Propeller guard, $39. Electronic ND filter, $220. Refresh 1 year, $225. Refresh 2 years for $365, I believe. So that's
last night that the Mavic 3 battery was higher when it first came out than this.
That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. What we're seeing right here.
And according to that spec sheet last night, the battery goes from like about 42 minutes to 53 minutes from Mavic 3 to Mavic 4. So you get a 9-minute bump in battery life.
And the last time I flew the Mavic 3 Pro, and I think I shared this with you and with Marcus. I didn't run. I did like 2 or 3 different things with that, and it's pretty heavy duty use. I did like a master shots, I did like a circle or droney or whatever, and all this, and then I did a hyperlapse, and I really kind of tried to tax the battery down, and I ended up landing with about 39% battery left, and I was up for about 35 minutes. I mean, it's more than enough battery right now with a Mavic 3 Pro. Jumping up another 10 minutes on this, that's pretty.
I mean, I've said it a couple times that this drone, to save money, I maybe just would order the base package and just order one extra battery, because I would have like 106 minutes of flying with 2 batteries. I don't know if I need that third battery.
Exactly. And that's probably, my plan, and this is just my plan, and this is something I think would work for me. What I would do is I would go ahead, order the base package. I want to get the Pro 2, so I would order that a la carte separately, and I would order another battery separately along with the charging hub, because it'll charge 2 batteries in parallel with the 240-watt charger. I would buy all the other items separately from that. So, this is just me. If it's available, if I can do that, with all things being said, if that's available on launch day and I can get it for those kind of prices and they're there, that's something I would do. Because like Ron said, to get 3 batteries, you don't really need, unless you were a professional and you're out on a shoot, you really probably don't need 3 batteries like this.
I mean, even real estate shoots, you could probably shoot 2 houses on 1 battery. So if you had 2 batteries, you could shoot 4 properties. Oh
yeah, easily, absolutely. There wouldn't be any problem with that.
I know Billy Kyle shoots from almost daylight to dusk, but most of us guys are lucky if we get. Most of the guys almost never get 4 shoots in one day.
Yeah,
Kyle.
Well, yeah. Well, and also too, you figure your travel time between shoots. You got to account for that, and just
you could charge up. You could charge up in the car too if you had a big travel time between shoots.
Exactly. So there's a lot to take into consideration here.
Bill, I know you took that graphic down, but I forget what was the price for the what do you call that electronic ND filter or whatever.
Let me get that back up here. Okay, that showed up as $220 US.
So that's and of course, I know you can't answer this, but if you chose not to get the electronic ND filters, I wonder if you could put an old-fashioned, just stick on ND filter somehow on it.
That's a real good question, Ron. That's a real good question. My guess is yes. I think it was just something, maybe a gimmick from DJI to try to sell filters. And there's so much that's unknown about this.
Yeah, because most high-end cameras that have the built-in ND filters, they're like internal. They're not something you can actually get to and remove or take off. So this kind of surprised me that this was user accessible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they talked about how the front of the gimbal was shaped and that it can pry on and off. So it's going to be real interesting to see how this all works out, how it plays out.
Somebody had a little graphic where you even have to plug it in. It's like a little cord, and you have to plug it in. It's kind of an odd set. I'm not saying it's not going to be a good thing, but it's kind of an odd setup to me.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting because of the lenses involved and everything. So it's kind of I'm anxious to get more information on that, because we all thought that something like that was electronically controlled from the app, but it's not, because that was my conjecture.
Well, I mean, let me put it this way: I don't have it, but when GoPro released their latest Hero 13, they came with their own ND filters you could put on, but the camera's algorithm was so good that you didn't have to go in and configure. The camera adjusted the ND, the settings itself when it knew, because it knows what ND filter it has on.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope this would be the same thing too, Bill, that if the Mavic 4 Pro knows it has that electronic ND filter, that it can actually adjust the settings itself rather than, well, I mean, I want manual override, but if you don't want to do it manually, that the camera could do it automatically for you.
Exactly. And that would really be fantastic, because I think a lot of people the hardest thing about using filters for a lot of people, I've heard, is to know which filter to use, because you may be transitioning from sun to light, back to sun. You may have a cloudy sky in one part of it, and then you're going over to a clear blue sky and there's a lot of sun there, and it maybe a very dark area and transitioning to a semi-light area. These kind of scenarios.
And it would be great if the drone with this filter run could do that itself with its own algorithm. Now, I said I want manual override because sometimes it may make the wrong decision, but you know how it is, Bill. Probably a big percentage of the time, the drone's going to get it right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as long as Ron said, I'm okay with something like that, as long as you can manually intervene and make, change it if you need to, based upon your situation that you're in. So I think that's something we're kind of all, really curious about. I'm very curious about it. I'm not a big filter user because, basically where I fly, it's all it's all either going to be very bright and sunny. Our partly cloudy days it's everywhere. It's just not right where you're
right. So a good filter can help you cut down on some of that overexposure and glare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you see Dr. B's comment in the chats? $2,500 is his limit. $3,500 and he's out or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dr. Ted. It's really, at this point, like I said, and I think it's best for all of us to kind of like just pull back, and we're going to take a look and see how this all plays out, because we really don't know right now. We really don't know right now how this is all going to play out. So we'll see here. I don't know.
It's a great unknown this time. It's probably the most unusual release ever from DJI, and things could go well, but things could go sideways too.
Yep, exactly. So we'll
kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers draft this weekend, huh? Could be good or could be go a little sideways, huh?
Well, yeah, we'll in this at this point, we're going to go ahead and this is it where we're at with the Mavic 4 Pro. We're going to spend a couple minutes here and do some sports talk, and I got to say this, Ron. Okay. You know how much I've talked about Mike Tomlin and his word salad, and he comes up and just has these grandiose statements that he makes. All right. Well, it seems that is a contagious disease in the city of Pittsburgh, because the general manager for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Kyle Dubas, is just like Mike Tomlin. Okay. His incredible words. Okay. That were just absolute total word salad. He had his closing news conference today, and I'm like, what did he say? What did he really say? And it was just, and it carries on. I mean, it's like all three Pittsburgh teams right now, mediocrity rules. That's where it's at.
Right. And you remember, like, when somebody's brutally honest, though, it gets them in trouble. Remember when Mike Singletary, the great linebacker, was coaching the 49ers, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. Remember, after a game, he went off and he basically said it like it was. He didn't last much longer after that.
Yeah.
Remember, at that game, he sent a player to the showers at halftime, a first-round pick. And he just did stuff he just never saw done before.
Yeah. As far as an evaluator of talent, I have to laugh. Okay. I mean, the ones that he goes out there, and when you go to these tryouts and you watch a lot of these players that you're thinking about drafting, you don't go out there and tell the whole media, well, I really like so-and-so from this university or whatever. I'm like, you know what? You don't do that. Okay.
Well, you don't go to the combine and just watch one guy the whole time.
And that's what Tomlin does. Okay. He does that and he telegraphs that.
He falls in love with these guys. Yeah.
And what usually happens is another team will pick that guy because Tomlin's doing that.
Don't know the guy trade ahead or whatever, or,
I'm like, why in the world are you doing that? Why? It does not make any sense whatsoever.
The general manager should tell him just stay home, Mike. I got all this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's like you might as well remember watching back in the day. And I know before clowns were scary, Bozo the Clown actually on TV, and it was actually kind of funny way back in the 60s. Okay. Kind of a thing. Well, this is a modern day version of that, starring Mike Tomlin and what's his name? The general manager,
Khan.
Omar Khan. Yeah. They're like Bozo the Clown and his assistant. I mean, and also Art Rooney II. It's just like the Three Stooges there, Mo, Larry, and Curly. I mean, it's just totally ridiculous. Those guys don't have a clue as to what they're doing. None. Zero.
And of course, in that draft, they're already talking about a bunch of trade stuff. There's a bunch of sharks in there that got to navigate. A lot of guys, the opposite. A lot of guys know exactly what they need to do in that draft. The coaches and general managers.
Yeah. These guys are they're pathetic, Ron. They are so pathetic. It's not funny. And
I mean, Pittsburgh's in a lot. There's supposedly a lot of trade talks. A lot of teams want to trade with and let the Steelers move up, and other teams want to get the Steelers picks, but I'm sure they want to bamboozle them.
Yeah. Oh, they'll take them to the cleaners if they're trying to move up or whatever thing. They'll take Tomlin and Khan to the cleaners.
But a lot of people forget the Steelers don't have the second round pick because they traded to get that wide receiver from Seattle that they signed for a bunch of money.
Yeah, and here, there's still no decision from Aaron Rodgers. It's more likely everybody says he's going to retire. Fine, bye. See you later. All right.
Yeah, and he made some cryptic statement last week saying that he could play or he cannot play, but he wants $10 million. He's got to be at least $10 million if he's going to play. He's almost he's almost like an old-fashioned gun for hire from Western, right?
Ron, I'll tell you what, I would be more mobile than Aaron Rodgers is right now. Okay.
Yeah. People forget how long it's been since Aaron Rodgers actually had a good season.
Oh, this was too funny. Okay. Everybody, you'll enjoy this. Sorry, this is the football talk. Okay. My wife and I go out to a local sports bar here. We go there once a week, usually Friday. They have really good fish on Friday for sale, fish dinners. And, it's Lent and everything. So why not? Okay. They're showing a replay of the Green Bay Steelers Super Bowl in Dallas, the one where Green Bay beat the Steelers. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I am laughing my head off right there. I'm just like, okay. And I was hoping to see it, and it came up when the fourth quarter. All right. They were up by, I think, like 8 points. Okay. Green Bay. And they were kind of struggling on this one drive. And then all of a sudden, I saw what the Steelers did for their defense. Okay. They went from a man-to-man to a zone. Okay. And it was William Gay that was out there. It was covering her out there. Okay. Tomlin made the call to do that. Okay. Aaron Rodgers burned him for like a 55-yard pass. They got down to the 5. They got a touchdown. Game was over.
Oh, wow.
Now, I was like, I told my wife, I said, that's why the Steelers lost that Super Bowl right there. That play.
That one play
right there. And William Gay was, I'm sorry, at times he was brilliant. Other times he would just like was horrible. Okay. And he was absolutely horrible there. Wrong defense to call, going from a man-to-man to a zone. Okay. Aaron Rodgers had a field day with that.
And on that, and that is Aaron Rodgers' one and only Super Bowl win in all the years he played and all the MVPs. That's his one Super Bowl win.
That's his one Super Bowl win.
And he had William Gay to thank for it, huh?
William Gay and Mike Tomlin to thank for that.
Absolutely. He can send him a little gift every year, huh?
He sends him a Rolex watch each year and thanks him for that. Absolutely. Okay. So, any closing thoughts here, Ron?
Again, we're kind of at a standstill here. We're on the Mavic 4 Pro watch. Know the drones are really on our horizon. We know that the little V-copter's not coming until June, and there's really nothing else to really talk about as far as drone releases, Bill. I mean, most of the news now is about whether expensive DJI drones can get shipped to the U.S. and whether tariffs are going to hit the Mavic 4 in future releases. But if you want to get a Mini 4K, a Neo, a Flip, go right ahead and order. You'll probably get it in a couple of days, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you'll have any delays on
Whoever's
doing that.
selling these drones down in the U.S. doesn't care about DJI's budget drones.
Exactly. There's,
I guess the budget drones don't spy well, huh, Bill?
they probably don't. And I think they probably don't have the crystal clear 4K video to do that.
Well, they don't have 4K now, but they don't have, I guess, high bit rates or whatever.
Probably the high bit rate. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, every DJI doesn't make a drone anymore. It does 4K, right?
Yeah. You're right.
They're all 4K. Even the little Neo,
they're all 4K,
$199 drone is not great 4K, but it is 4K.
It's still 4K. So, and I agree with Ron. And I think one of the things, and I've said it several times tonight, sit back, guys. Put your seatbelts on and let's ride this out. Don't go. Here's some things I would not do right now if I were you, unless your drone crashed and you need a drone for your business right now, or your drone got destroyed or stolen or whatever. If you need to get one, get one. Otherwise, I would hang tight, for a few weeks here. I really would, seriously, okay? Because the way things are and the volatility of things right now, you just want to let this whole situation play out. And no, I'm not just talking about the tariffs, the whole thing with DHL and customs and everything that's going on with that. Just chill. Just absolutely chill.
I mean, unless you want to buy a Neo, then just go ahead and get it.
Yeah, if you want to buy a Neo or a Flip, okay, or a Mini 4K, go for it. Okay, those drones are all available. Go for it. Okay. Other than that, I would kind of sit tight, sit back, relax, and watch this all play out. There's no need to rush, no need to do any panic, no need to do anything. In fact, this whole thing made me reevaluate and think, even if I do get the Mavic 4 Pro, I'm keeping the Mavic 3 Pro. That's not going anywhere. Okay. I've made that firm decision. That's absolutely going to be a part of my drone fleet. Okay. And we'll see how things play out. We don't know. So that's kind of where things are. Thank you guys for a great chat tonight. Really enjoyed your great questions. Thank you all so much for that. And question of the day, what did you think of DJI Mavic 4 Pro delay concerns? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.